Hello, everybody. This is Teacher Camille. Today, I am going to share to you the four major greetings that we always use. And we are going to use them properly based on time. I have a little thing here beside me. Do you know what it is? Is it a shoe? No. Is it a television? No. Is it a computer? No. What do you think it is? A clock? A watch? Hmm, let me clear that first. When you say clock, it looks like this. It's the same as well as what you can see in the wall. Even Big Ben, they have a clock in there. It's a big one. When you put it in the wall, you call it a wall clock. This one beside me works as an alarm clock. But when you say watch, it could be the smaller version, and normally the watch that we use in our wrist. The one I have is what we call a wristwatch. So this one is a watch. It's handy. You can put it in your wrist. The other one is like an alarm clock. And the one in your wall, can you see your own wall clock at home? Is what you call wall clock. There. Now, let's go back to the greetings that I am going to share with you. When to use them properly based on the time given by the clock. Those that you are seeing are actually the four major greetings that we always use every day. Good morning. After you woke up, normally we say good morning to our parents. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, teacher. And when it's already after your lunch, we use good afternoon. Yes, it's already good afternoon because it's after the noontime. Noontime is 12 o'clock noon. And after the afternoon, we get to use good evening. And of course, before bedtime, good night. Now, when do you use them based on the time? Let me share you another picture. If ever we wake up at 5 in the morning, of course, we are going to use good morning. 5 o'clock until 11 o'clock, we get to use good morning. Because it's morning time, the sun is still up. But when the time goes at 12 o'clock, it's the middle of the day. So if it's the middle of the day, we use good noon. Again, it's good noon. So most likely, when 11 o'clock is done and it goes close to midday, we are going to use good noon. It's quite short for us to use good noon because by the moment that the clock strikes at 1, it's going to be afternoon. The afternoon will go from 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. That is still afternoon. So from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock and 5 almost going 6, that's going to be afternoon time. But the moment the clock strikes at 6 o'clock, that is going to be evening time. Evening time. So you will be using good evening. Right now, I'm on 12 a.m. 12 a.m. is the start of the day. Now, I am going to have 1 o'clock in the morning. Most of us are still asleep. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Maybe some people are awake at 4 o'clock, like the farmers or the fishermen, so they can use the good morning as early as 4 o'clock. Other people like us normally wakes up at around 5 o'clock, the earliest, or 6 o'clock. So, if it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, a.m., we are still going to use good morning. That is right. And that good morning will last until 11 o'clock. Yes, based on the first picture that I gave you here. And from 11 going to 12, it's going to be noontime. I will move this to 12 o'clock. It's now 12 p.m. 12 p.m. is a midday. We are going to greet each other good noon because it's a midday. So that means half of the day is already finished. Now, since 12 o'clock is noon and we are going to greet each other good noon, after the 12 o'clock, that means we are going to 1 o'clock, it is going to be after the noon time. So if it's after the noon time, it starts with 1 o'clock. We are going to greet people around us good afternoon. Good afternoon lasts until 5 o'clock or almost 6. That is still good afternoon. So however it is, as long as it's almost 6 o'clock, it is still good afternoon. However, if the clock strikes at 6 p.m., 6 o'clock p.m., that is going to be good evening. And good evening will be from 6 in the evening until 11 p.m. 11 in the evening. 11 and almost going to 12. That is 11 p.m. and that's going to be good evening for our greetings. Now, when it strikes midnight and it's going to be 12:01 again, we start greeting others good morning. Again, 5 o'clock in the morning, the moment that we wake up, until 11 in the morning, that's going to be good morning. 11 going to 12, and 12 almost to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that's going to be good noon. But the moment the clock strikes at 1 o'clock in the afternoon until a few minutes before 6, we are going to use good afternoon. Now, when the clock strikes at 6 o'clock, then we are going to start with good evening. So right now, Looking at my wristwatch, it's already 7:20 p.m. What do you think I will use? Will I use good afternoon? No. Good morning? No. Good night? Not yet. You can still use good evening. Good evening, everyone. How's your night? When do we use good night then? We will use our good night when it's almost bedtime. So if your bedtime is 8 o'clock, you are already in your pajamas and ready to sleep. That's the time for you to use good night. Before going to bed and sleeping, make sure that you greet your mom and dad good night so you will have a good night's sleep. So that is our little lesson for today. I hope you'll wait for the next one. See you again, kiddos. Bye bye.